So I have another challenge for my Jehovah Witness friends today, and it pertains to the belief that when Jesus died, Jesus ceased to exist. And this refers to the doctrine of soul sleep or annihilationism of the dead. But soul sleep is probably the most proper way to speak of this doctrine that Jehovah Witnesses believe. And so the argument goes something like this. Jehovah Witnesses will say, Jesus could not be God because Jesus died for our sins. And what is death? Death is becoming unconscious, knowing nothing. And therefore, if Jesus died and ceased to know things and ceased to be conscious, he could therefore not be God. Well, the statement Jehovah Witnesses use is logically coherent, but it's not based on what the Bible actually teaches. So don't be tricked by the fact that their argument is logically coherent. Rather, you need to ask, are the statements that they are asserting as truth actually true? Was Jesus unconscious and incapable of knowledge and knowing things? And well, I'm going to look at a verse with you today. And the only explanation for this verse is that when Jesus died, he did not cease to be conscious, but was still actively involved in his resurrection. And we get this from John 10, verses 17 through 18. And is talking about Jesus. Jesus himself is actually talking about his laying down his life and his taking his life back. Let's read this together. Verse 17 says, "For this reason the Father loves me, because I lay down my life," and notice this, "that I may take it up again." Pause there. Jesus just said, "I will take my life back again. I will do it. I lay it down and I take it back." But that's not the only time he says it in this passage. Look right here. It says, verse 18, he says, "No one takes it from me. No one takes my life from me, but I lay it down of my own accord." So when Jesus, pause there. Okay. So when Jesus is in the Garden of Gethsemane and the soldiers come to get him and they say, "Are you Jesus?" And he says, "I am." And they fall down. What is Jesus saying? He's saying, "You can't take my life from me unless I give it." Because clearly they had no power to just walk up and grab him. When they're just asking a question and he answers their questions, they fall down to the ground. They're powerless. He is the one in control. He lays down his life. And notice the same power to lay down his life is also, verse 18, the power he has to take his life back up again. So he says, verse 18, "No one takes it from me, but I lay it down of my own accord, and I have authority to lay it down." And notice this, "I have authority to take it up again." Question, Jehovah Witnesses, how can Jesus take back his life if his death means soul sleep, if his death means annihilationism? I would propose to you that at a minimum, whether or not people other than Jesus go through soul sleep is a topic for another video. But is that true of Jesus Christ? And from what Jesus is saying here, it cannot be true of Jesus Christ. He lays down his life and he takes it back up again. And this, by the way, isn't the only place this is found. Let's also go to John 2. Should have had this queued, but it just came to my mind as I'm thinking here. John 2:19, Jesus says this. He says, "Destroy this temple, and in 3 days I will raise it up." And if you notice here, it says, when he was raised from the dead, his disciples had remembered. Oh, sorry, verse 21 is the verse I really want to get to. But he was speaking about the temple of his body. So he's saying, if you destroy this temple, my body, in 3 days I will raise it, my body, up. So again, we're talking about Jesus raises his own body. That requires Jesus to be conscious after he dies and have power to raise his body from the dead. Here's another interesting thought. If in Jesus all things hold together, okay, let's just go this. Some of this stuff is just coming to my mind as I'm talking here, where it says in Jesus, verse 17 here. Let's highlight this while we're talking. Okay. It says, he is before all things, and in him all things hold together. So if Jesus went through soul sleep and then he ceased to be conscious, how could all things in him hold together? It would seem that if Jesus ceased to exist and went through soul sleep and was unconscious after his death, that all things would no longer hold together, but would just simply disappear. And that's also another passage here. Let's go here. Hebrews 1:3, I believe it is. I'm positive it's Hebrews 1:3. Where it says this, he is the radiance of the glory of God and the exact imprint of his nature, and he upholds the universe by the word of his power. So again, if Jesus ceases to exist when he dies, according to your doctrine, I'm not putting words in your mouth, this is the soul sleep doctrine of Jesus Christ's death, which you used to say that he's not God. If that's true, then how can Jesus uphold the universe? How can the universe hold together if Jesus dies and then becomes unconscious and is incapable of sustaining the universe and holding it together and raising himself from the dead? I have to say that the doctrine of Jehovah's Witnesses has to be wrong on this point. There is no soul sleep for Jesus Christ. And again, like I said, it'll be another video to discuss whether or not believers go through soul sleep or not. I happen to think believers don't, but I haven't proposed any verses that prove you wrong on that one. But I am saying that Jesus Christ did not go through soul sleep when he died. I'm Pastor Greg Thornburg from Redemption Bible Church in Casa Grande, Arizona, and you are listening to our podcast.